All right. Good. All right, those levels look good. And we are live now. Great. I'm still getting the hang of this stuff, folks, kids, whatever. Fix. Oh boy, that's no good. No good. No good at all. Live media is different, I tell you. Eesh. I just listened to my favorite radio show that a friend does on Radio Free Brooklyn. And I have a newfound respect for her smooth patter live on the air, because I've been editing my stuff and there's a lot of a lot of trailing off, a lot of sniffling. So I wanted to jump back in as soon as her show wrapped up so that I can kind of try to channel that energy. Right. So where we left off, let me switch feeds so we can get a better look. Yeah, here we are. So this is where we left the Emir Tiny Terror. This is a super deform kit from Mike Parks of Ray Harryhausen creature about to beat up Disney's Dumbo. A play on the fact that the creature in the movie fought a stop-motion elephant puppet that was insanely convincing, considering that it's a real animal. Like you've got carte blanche to direct to design a character like this, but the elephant had to look realistic, and it did. It's really, really amazing stuff. Anyway, now that we've got our kind of base skin pattern in here, I'm going to start having fun with some dry brush layers. Okay. So first, I want to go back in with my blue spruce. This guy here. This one right here. Now that I've blocked in that raw sienna for the softer tissues on Emir, I want to dry brush back in. Yeah, let's try this brush. Dry brush back in the teal on the more raised surfaces here, like along the shoulder line, just to help blend it. Oh, good. Here's the main title from Day the Earth Stood Still again. This came on during the Part 1 stream. And I decided to just throw on a spooky theremin playlist. I thought that would be suitable for this 50s black and white sci-fi classic. There's some air bubbles in there that I didn't fill in. Yeah, there we go. Not drying too much paint off the brush, because I want to do almost this glaze effect. Other scales here that are more separated, I'm going to go in as spot work further down the road, possibly tonight. Not really sure yet. See how nicely that's blending right there? So far, I'm very pleased with my basic color choices here. And this is pretty aligned with what my next steps would have been when I started painting this at the age of 12 or 13 or so. But now I got new paints. I got new tricks up my sleeves. So I want to go in the direction that I wanted to way back when, because I got a memory for such things, oddly enough. And then go further, see where inspiration takes me. Hello? Well, my ceiling just farted. Did you get that? Vitago. I'm glad this is on here. This was actually a very formative piece of music for me. I first got interested in the prospect of filmmaking when we were watching some old home movies, and I mean old, digitized Super 8 from the early 50s into the early 80s. And part of the reels, or at least one reel of this home movie collection, was my uncle's monster movies that he made with all the neighborhood kids in their backyard that he directed. And he did all of the makeup tricks that he learned in Famous Monsters of Filmland. And I was 7 years old, I think, when I saw these movies. And my dad had digitized them to VHS tape and gave them out to the family. And since they were silent, he added a lot of old TV themes from a CD to all the family stuff. But when it got to the monster movies, he used a compilation of Bernard Herrmann's Hitchcock themes. It took a while to get to the connection there. Sorry. But anyway, that's to say that I was introduced to Vertigo, Psycho, Marnie, all of those themes. In my head, it is the music to my uncle's childhood monster movies. And that was when it first dawned on me of like, wait, you can just make movies if you want. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you that job when you're a grown-up. And now I paint tiny monsters in my boiler room. That is to say, I'm glad this music came on, because I do like to listen to this compilation when I need some inspiration. I'm sorry, I didn't want to rhyme. I didn't mean to do that. It's gonna keep happening. Yeah, I don't know if you could see. Yes, you can. During my last stream, I was talking about how the webcam I purchased, unfortunately, is not mountable to a tripod, which I thought it was when I purchased it. So last time I streamed, I had to use a jar of tacks, this jar of tacks, to hold the camera and point it at my work surface. I have since upgraded. In fact, here, let me get that Dremel tool out of the way. You can see I have now run the webcam through a vintage Crypt Keeper Halloween decoration, who does vibrate if I hit the button. But I'm not going to do that with a brand new webcam attached to it. I got the last one they had of these camera rigs at B&H. Back in October, it was just sitting there on the counter, and I said, how much for it? The guy wanted $1,000. I said, no way. No way is that old piece of equipment worth four figures. I'll give you $975 for it. I wound up giving him $9.80 for it because the guy was so nice. But yeah, so far it's giving me a better angle. It's tough to find the angle where I'm not also blocking the light. And I'm trying to figure out a lighting setup in here because I am not an electrician. And I know I got a limited wattage in here in this unfinished boiler room. So I'm trying to think ahead before I go on like this. If I want to go on like that with the fin. Or if the fins, I think I'll just start with a whole new base color for those to really separate them. Yeah. Good man. Okay. There, I like it. It looks like the dust is caked in the grooves of his feet. Oh, is there a theremin in this? This is Bram Stoker's Dracula by, I'm probably going to mispronounce the name, but I think it's Wojciech Kilar. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but I've been listening to this score on CD since I was in high school. This was one of my moody teenage albums, Bram Stoker's Dracula soundtrack. Number one, though, of my like not realizing I was emo album was the Batman Returns score. My favorite Christmas album of all. Just touching up some of the little white spots I'm seeing now that the base color has dried. So tough to spot those air bubbles on this guy because his skin is so bumpy. But I'll also be doing some dark washes to bring out the recesses. What is that? God, am I going to have to look up reference pictures for Dumbo? I really don't want to look up pictures of his smiling face as I paint a little version of him that's about to get pounded by a giant Venusian alien. Okay. Oh, I'll tell you what we're going to did. We're going to stipple. There we go. Because you see how that provides a thinner, blent skin pattern beneath the pebbles. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I do worry. I don't want him to come out looking too much like a gremlin. Those eye ridges are actually very reminiscent of Spike. Spike? Stripe? Spike is in Gremlins 2, maybe? I don't know. I'm sorry I'm bouncing around so much. I'm never conscious of it when I'm painting alone, and now I got to present to camera. Yikes. Oh, yeah, look at that. Hang on. Let's just get some of this color into the cracks of the skin, and that really brings it more together. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Yeah, definitely on the tail. Keeping it heavier towards the center line, so it just kind of tapers off the pattern. Hang on, this is starting to sound like Daniel Elfman. It is not. This is called It Is Halloween, not This Is Halloween. Okay. Oh, you know what? Yeah. See how I'm doing here? I just want it to taper like that. All right. So that was a subtle step, but it really went a long way. I'll hold them up to the webcam in a second. Here, check them out. So yeah, just stippling with that darker color along the edges here, where the two types of skin meet. He's got it all nice and blent, which is the past tense of blend. Blended. Just sounds wrong. Blend. Okay, back to work. Now, to me, my dry brushes. There's one. Yeah, have the really sharp edge pointing up. That's real good. Okay, this is my medium-sized dry brush. So we started, yes, with raw sienna. Want to do a quick layer up from that of yellow ochre over all our raw sienna bits. Going heaviest on the center line by the sternum and the pectorals. Make sure you bump right into the camera with your hand, you dangus. Get his undercarriage there. This is the most awkward part of every model. Especially if it's characters that like you grew up just loving. Your heroes. And then you always gotta paint their crotches and their butts. Sometimes I'll take a belt of scotch before I do it and just pretend I'm somewhere else. Too dark. Too dark. Okay. Yeah, see all that stuff coming out, all those shin wrinkles? Well, I bet that feels good, buddy. I did that once, totally on accident. I was painting a bust of the Red Skull from Marvel Comics, and we had just gotten a little kitty cat for the first time. And I had become a cat dad, and as I was painting the Red Skull and doing this, I just unconsciously said, "Does that feel good?" Terrible. Just terrible. Okay. Not going too crazy with this yellow ochre because we are going to layer up from here. I want to get along the feet. All right. Here's how he's looking. Yeah, I apologize. He is very awkwardly shaped for me to hold in front of the camera without knocking his tail around. That dang tail. All right, so I'm not going to rinse that off because that helps with the blending. May not be best for the brush, but I like to live dangerously. Okay, now we're going with a light pumpkin. This is one of my favorite vibrant, healthy flesh tones. Would not use this on an undead character. That is all I mean. Because this is a living creature, we're using light pumpkin. So definitely want to highlight the lips. Start to get some of the detail on these jowl things. Or wattles? Are they like wattles? It does remind me of a rooster or a turkey. Perish the thought, I can't stand turkeys. Look at that. Yes. Can you? I mean, jeez. Why are you doing that, you doof? Now, just a little bit of this. We're going to experiment with this hot pink. Love this paint. It can bring out a lot of fun things in flesh tones. So this I just want to have, all right, we'll start at the lips. Definitely the wattles. I want the wattles to be ultimately a different color than the scales and the soft flesh. I want them to be a little redder. Yeah. So even though he's a caricature guy, I like to bring some verisimilitude into how he looks. So I do want him to look like biologically feasible, if that makes sense. However, I think I would be missing the point of the assignment if I did the same with Dumbo and painted him as a realistic elephant. And I think that would also, I don't know, would it be crueler than just having him wail on a Disney character? I've never been crazy about that kind of humor, but here we are. the kit has to get done. Okay, there. I like what's going on. Yeah, just aiming for the center line with this pink. Yeah. And now you can go back in with wet, same brush, wet. Let's do some more of that stippling. Just to help marry all those colors together. Yeah, heck, I'll even get the bottom of the tail. Just follow the kit, follow the sculpt. Okay. Then you find yourself asking questions like, how am I going to paint this guy's one nipple? I don't know. He's an alien from Venus. What does an alien from Venus's nipple look like? Got all these other bumps. Do I make it look like those, or do I make it look different? What do I do about this alien nipple? It just happened again. I swear I'm not being a grandpa who's trying to, dodge a fart accusation. I don't know if you can get a sense of this from my lav, but it's coming from right over there. It's got to have something to do with the heat. All right, I'm going to stop protesting too much. What did I want to do now? Okay, we're going to go... I think we're going to give this brush a break, but let's see what I can find. Yeah, all right. Oh, this wet. Okay. I'm going to get a little crazy now. A little risky, actually. Taking this 2 blue. Love this thing. Very electric blue. Good, like Superman color blue. And I want to try to dry brush just the undersides of the scales. In fact, let's see if I can switch up the camera angle for this so I can move around a little more. Hi. Let's see how this works. Okay. We'll try it. Where's that sponge o' mine? You know what I want to see? Okay. Back we are. Apologies. I want to stick with this brush because it's just it's flat. It's not rounded, so I can bring it to more of an edge. So if I do this, Going light as I can and trying to stay in one direction, because the idea is to ultimately dry brush in the opposite direction with a contrasting color. And this blue might be a little too dark in value to show up, but it is helping to separate the pebbly skin. So I'm just going to run with it. Okay, so that didn't do a whole heck of a lot, but now I know. Not gonna rinse that blue off the brush, but we're just gonna layer something onto it. But what? He asked. What? Well, I know this much. I want to get into this color shift aqua flash. So I think we're going to do that. That's what I wanted to dry brush going down. We'll figure out something for the upswing, because these are the kind of layers that you can work back and forth until you're blue in the face. All right, but now there's no turning back from this. We'll start on this leg, just going down. Woo, look at that. Look at that. That's why I love these color shift paints. All right, let's get that arm. Here we go, man. So you can see now, here he is without the color shift. And there he is with. So this is why I brought her down here. This is one of the same color shift paints that I used on Medusa not too long ago. So it's another Harryhausen creature with pebbly skin, and I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I wanted her as a reminder to figure out a whole new creature pattern for the Emir. Because like I was saying earlier today when I was working, it's a black and white movie, and even though there's a colorized version where he's just all these two shades of green, you just use your imagination. You can make him pink if you want to. You can make him glow in the dark. I have been getting into fluorescent paints as well. I'm working on something else for another Christmas gift for another loved one that involves fluorescent paints. I don't know. I chose this playlist for the name Spooky Theremin. Not hearing a whole lot of theremin on here. But then I get antsy when I haven't listened to theremin music for too long. All right. That was our idea. An opposing color shift paint. I want to try this purple one, Purple Flash, because they're all called Flash. But we'll just start down at the legs, and if we don't like how this looks, we can cover it with something else. That color shift is also not going to be our last layer here, because I don't want them looking too metallic. So we're going to flatten that out with layers of something else. Oh, excuse me. Huh. Okay. There's a subtle difference there. Let's try this other one. I predict it's called like Rose Flash. Red Flash. I got a very colorful palette over here so far. I like that. I always like seeing what my paper towel looks like when I'm done using it. It's one of these kits because it always reflects the character in some way. Yeah, I like this. I like what this is doing. Getting a little more selective with it, so you don't lose that contrast. We haven't dry brushed anything on this arm. little bit more, a little bit more. Okay. Now let's just stipple that red flash a little bit because I liked what that was doing. I think I actually want to bring it up here. Yeah. Oh, I know this music. Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, with this stippling effect, or technique rather, I often don't feel the need to use an airbrush. I say I often don't feel the need. I never use an airbrush. I have experimented with them, and I am intimidated. I will continue to experiment, and I will get better at it. And maybe you can watch me do it. But my fear of airbrushes has necessitated my finding good workarounds. And there's something about doing it by hand with a brush that leaves all these like microscopic imperfections in the surface of the paint. It just gives it so much more real texture to me. And to those of you who love the airbrush, more power to you. I am in awe of the things that you guys do with those. And I'll get there. I'll get there someday. Every time I watch David Fisher's DVDs, the Model Mania tutorial movies, which were another big inspiration for me doing this. Every time I go back to those, it gets me wanting to try out the airbrush. And I like that this layer is kind of becoming again, just like a nice segue between the darker and lighter skin tones. All right. Ooh, he's looking good. Now, take a break from that brush. I'll give you a progress shot. We'll switch feeds here. Here's our guy. You get better light on him. All right, I think I'm going to do... Well, I'm not going to limit it. What time is it? It's 7:09. What did I want? There was... We are going to get green with them now, but where did I put it? Oh, there is a green color shift. I might leave that out just because we've done a lot of color shifts now. I don't want it to get too muddied. There's a matte teal. Oh, this is what I was looking for. What better music for a creepy boiler room, right? Oh, goodness. Okay. All right, switching feeds back. Okay. Oh. I love this. This is a very fun, funky green. What is it called? Spring green. Okay. So I'm not putting too much pressure on here because I don't want to completely lose that metallic finish of the color shift. You just want to flatten it because that'll give him some depth. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say so far he's starting to come into the vision that I've always had throughout these years. For all my funky sci-fi colors, he is looking like pretty grounded and believable, which is also what I want to go for. All right, now I'm going to do another layer on top of that. This is called yellow green. So it is, but it is only a little yellower and brighter than the spring green we were just using. Okay, that was it again. It's never done that before either, and I've spent a lot of hours and years down here. All right. Let's rinse that brush off. So I think it went a little too bright on the top of his head. I don't know why he was looking better when he was darker, when his brow was darker. What if? Oh, without tearing my microphone off. Oh, good. There's my belly and one of my surgical scars right on live YouTube. You just got to roll with these little bullshit things that happen in life. Pardon my French. Well, did that light help us? Sort of. Here's our guy. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to figure out a base color for the fin and just block that in and then leave this to pick up at a later date, possibly tomorrow night. I'm doing this stream unlisted just because I'm still getting the hang of this. So I might do the same and just pop on just to keep the mill grinding, you know? All right, let's switch feeds. Cool. What do I want to do with the fin? I can kind of picture what I want to do with the fin. Just trying to figure out the way there. Remember what we just said about not tearing the microphone off? Dang us. Okay. Just the best part about having multicolored lights in your face is it makes it really easy to find paints while looking directly at them. Dusty mauve. Is this the darker one? All right. Yeah, this is fine. No, I wanted a specific. Right in front of me, like I said. I could even read it through the wire basket. I swear, this guy. Okay. Switch up brushes. Yeah, we'll go with a little guy here. Just want to move the camera in so you can get a better shot at this. So this is mulberry is this color. And yeah, he's a kind of greenish guy. I love contrasting green with purple and working purple in however I can. But this will not ultimately look purple, this fin. Unless I decide to just follow my heart. Yeah, looking ahead, I think I am just going to kind of make this guy look like a rooster. But that's okay. Roosters are fun. God, that one sounded like the house was about to have diarrhea. I really, really hope that these sounds are coming across on the lav. Otherwise, I'm going to sound insane. And then there's a break in his fin here, which I did notice on the puppet in the movie. So I'm just going to be very careful to avoid that because I like that detail. I like that that made it in here. Oh, and he's got fins on his elbows as well. So let's get those. What is this, Chinatown? What are we listening to here? Main theme from L.A. Noire. All right, an admirable guess, no? Okay. Oh, is that... That looks like another little fin. Might as well get it, right? Tell you what, let's see. All right, there's step one on the monster's nipple that I was fretting about. Doesn't look so bad, but we're going to dry brush some things and make it not so noticeable. It is something that I don't want to call attention to. Not so as you'd know it on the stream. Okay. Gonna have to free up some space on the paper towel. And I just want to do a little dry brushing on the fin. And then I think I shall have to say goodnight, Frau Blucher. Y'all were supposed to whinny and neigh, and somebody had to make a thunder sound. Come on. Okay, so going back to some of the same dry brush layers that we did on the chest and belly, I want to use those to build up the fin on the back, or to brighten it up, rather. So, let's go back to this narrow guy, because I figure I could just go right down from the top down of the spines and not risk getting this color on the surrounding area, because I don't want to do that. Okay, here we go. Make sure we're getting the sides. Get it here on his waddles. A little bit more on there. Okay. Next, not rinsing the brush, just to help blend the colors. Going back to our light pumpkin that we used on the belly. And just going to repeat the same step. And it's mixing with the paint that's already on the brush to just lighten it up and find a nice middle ground. Do a little bit of a stipple. Get some more color into those eye sockets. blend it out because you don't want all those bright paint spots in the recesses. There we go. There we go. All right. Sure. Let's toss some of that color under his chin. I wonder if we pick up some of the highlights on the nipple. Yeah. Confound this nipple. All right. All right. I think I'm going to sign off. 7:32. It was a solid stream, as if I drank, well, a lot of lemon water. I specified lemon water so that you wouldn't worry about why it's so cloudy. But yeah, let's not linger on that little detail. And I'll go to our main webcam over here. So let me show you. Ha! Here's where we're leaving off. Again, he's a caricature, but I want him to look real still. So much better when I just film them by themselves in my garage when they're done, and not me just being my own turntable and not knowing how to hold things in front of a camera. But anyway, thank you for sticking with me, and we will pick up part 3 of my Tiny Terror Emir first chance I get. Peace.